Midlands Metalheads Radio, we are live here at the Hard Rock Hell 12. It's the final day of the 3, and I'm pleased to say we have
Dylan Villain from the Wild.
From the Wild, exclamation mark.
All the way from Canada.
You've picked the graveyard shift, haven't you? Well, I'd say you've picked it, but
I think
it's been given to you.
I think it was bestowed upon us.
Yeah.
Like, we've been told by everybody that is the slot.
It is, because Dead Daisies finished their set. Mm-hmm. Everybody then piles into stage 2.
Yeah.
You get a fantastic response from everybody who's there, and everybody knows about you. You're the last band on the
whole festival.
Yeah,
it's good. We're excited about it.
Yeah.
And it's the last show actually that we're going to play for a little bit, because we've been on tour steady for the past 2 years. So this is this record that we're currently on has been taking us all over the world. We're really excited about it, but now we get to play the last show of this cycle, and then really celebrate.
Put your feet up then for Christmas,
for a minute.
etc. Yeah. Wild at Heart, the album. Do you have any material in the pipeline for a new release anytime next year?
Yeah, we definitely do. We've been really excited about the new record that's coming. I'd say, fans can probably expect to hear some new music early in the new year. Mm-hmm. And we've just, from all the touring that we've done, over the past 2 years with so many of our heroes, so many of the bands we grew up listening to that we've toured with. It's really, and then also a big part of it too is paying attention to how European audiences react to certain songs of ours.
Right.
So that's been a big part in the whole, what do we want to do with this next record? How do we want to take, not that we're going to take a far cry from what we are playing with rock and roll, but certain feels that we have, that we touch on, we notice the audience reacts to differently, especially in Europe. Mm-hmm. And it's been really important. I think it's really important to pay attention to your audience, and that's something that we've been doing over the last 2 years with all the touring we've been doing. So really excited about the next record, really excited about the direction it's taken. Some
of the bands that you've been touring with, you mentioned, are they an influence on you and your music?
Absolutely. Like, we just, in June, went out and did a really good European run with Rose Tattoo. Mm-hmm. And it's one of my all-time favorite bands. Yeah. And just they are a huge part of the Wild, really, of the reason we sound the way we are. And then, getting to meet them and watch them play every night. And, of course, now they have Mark Evans from AC/DC, originally from AC/DC, in with the band. And, just watch them play and talk to them, and talk to them about playing, talk to them about music, talk to them about life, and just be, challenged in a way by the types of musicians that they are, and their ability, and just really soak it all in. It's amazing, and them and Phil Campbell, Motorhead. I talked to Phil about all the Motorhead stuff, and that was quite amazing for sure. Airborne, good friends of ours. Love those guys, and it just bands that really fucking rock. Bands that really know how to push it and go hard. Yeah.
So you say you grew up. Are you from Vancouver originally then?
No, we live near Vancouver.
Right.
Kelowna is what it's called. I grew up in Ontario, though, originally, in a really, really small town back home. And I later moved to Toronto, and then after Toronto, I moved to British Columbia, in Kelowna, where I live now.
Yeah. What was the music scene like then when you were growing up in Ontario?
In the small town I grew up in?
Yeah.
It's cool, it's like a really, really small town. But there was a lot of bands, even for that small town at the time. And we did, it was cool. Like, when I was 12 years old, my friend's parents owned a bar. And it was a cool bar. It was a pretty, pretty like down home, sort of hometown, small town bar kind of joint. But they had live music. And one of the stipulations is her son was in the band, or their son was in the band. And one of the stipulations of if bands were coming to play is we could open.
Right. So
there we were, 12 years old, hanging out in these dingy, smoky bar, and playing with these guys that would come in, traveling through and stuff. And it was interesting because we were so young, but we still learned a lot. And I think that's really how it started. Is you put all these 12-year-old kids in a bar, and it was kind of, thinking about it now, it's kind of shticky. We're young kids and we're playing rock songs and stuff. But looking back on it, I think, well, that's pretty fucking cool.
It's a good grounding.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
And it really set the tone for what was going to happen later.
Yeah. Now, you're on tour at the moment. Have you been brought over to the UK specifically for the tour and for this festival?
Well, this is the last show of the whole tour. And it was, when we were out with Airborne and Phil Campbell, this show got booked.
Yeah.
So it was booked last year.
Yeah.
And then we just, put some headline dates around it. So we did Germany first and then the UK after. And now we wrap it all up tonight at Hard Rock Hell.
At midnight. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be something else. Have you got any particular influences that guided you in your music as you were growing up before you formed the first bands?
Yeah, all that stuff sort of really, it's pretty straightforward with us. You listen to it, you can hear it, AC/DC, Motorhead, and ZZ Top at times and things like that. But it's really like a fusion of, I always say, the blues, everything's the rock and roll that I love, and basically all rock and roll is rooted in the blues. So blues mixed with southern rock and punk rock, and then a bit of metal, because we take all those ideas from the blues and make them really loud and really hard and really fast.
So that's what people can expect at midnight tonight into the early hours of Sunday. Then.
Just a fucking ripper, bud.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Good.
Actually, because we will wrap up here with the Dead Daisies.
Yes.
And then we'll go and see their set, and then like everybody else, we'll pile across the way there and come and watch the Wild.
I look forward to it.
You'll be brilliant. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Have a great gig.
Thank you, sir.
And whatever else you do in 2019.
Yeah.
Good luck with it as well.
Right on. Hope to see you soon.
Cheers.